Welcome to Move It Mondays, where we show you how to self-assess and self-treat common injuries so that you can move like you mean it. Hey, what's up guys? This is Mitch back from the Movement Center. Welcome back to Movement Mondays, and today we are focusing on snapping hip. We have Sonia here behind the camera. We have to pass it back and forth a little bit today. We had a question in actually from Switzerland, surprisingly. Hey Switzerland. We're talking about snapping hip. So what can happen is these hip flexor muscles that cross from the front of the lower back to the front of the hip, as they move back and forth, if they get tight or stiff, sometimes they can cause clicking, popping, shifting as they come back. So if your leg isn't able to fully extend, what can happen is this hip flexor muscle will kind of over that bone. And so what we can do is loosen those guys up. But oftentimes there's a weakness in the back of the hips that can compensate for that. And so we kind of got to take care of the whole system. All right, so I'm going to grab this camera back. We're going to take a look at Sonia. Here she is. Whoop. Awesome. Hi, Sonia.
Hi.
So she's going to show us we're talking about her snapping hip here. So if she goes and shows us this movement, she can kind of go back and forth. And when she's walking, when she's doing core exercises, trying to stabilize her pelvis, sometimes what we get is nice and repeatable click and sort of a deeper click that we see happen into here, and it kind of feels eerie. Would you say, Sonia?
Yeah.
A little bit odd. And so what we want to do is find a way to loosen that up. Now, if you are getting clicking in your hip, it's always a good option to get that checked out to make sure it's not something happening in a joint capsule or something deeper. But if we're knowing it's just a hip flexor, then we're going to talk about some ways to open that up. So Sonia's going to kind of grab this over again. And so one thing we can do with good stretch wise is we want to get into open up the front side of the hip. So we can get into a good lunge position like this and squeeze the glutes as hard as you can, and you want to then press your hip forwards. Now if you're getting this clicking, most people are pretty flexible and they think they're flexible. So what they'll do is they'll lean really far forward, so my pants don't rip here, and they'll lean back. But what you're doing is actually shortening or lengthening, I should say, the hips on one side, but you're also giving up slack on the other because of where this muscle attaches. So you want to be up high or tall, squeeze the glute and press forwards to open up this stretch. Sounds good? And the other thing we want to do is get in some glute strengthening, which we can talk about in a different video. But the number one thing is to open up this hip and get a good stretch, stabilizing your pelvis, squeezing your butt, and driving forward. You shouldn't be past parallel if you're getting this clicking, and it is due to this hip flexor muscle. It also should be pain-free. All right? We're going to have Sonia give us a try. So she's going to sneak over here. She's giving me a face. She doesn't want to try it. So she comes up here. She's in tall, so she's in a good lunge position. Perfect. The big thing we're going to notice for her is that her bum is squeezed and she's nice and straight up and down. And she's going to press her hip forwards. Good. And Sonia, where do you feel that stretch?
Right here.
Right there in the front. Perfect. And the other thing we can do is we can actually have her twist to her left so she can rotate to the left from her shoulder, and you'll feel it pick up a little bit more in the front. Bit of a different stretch. She can take her right hand and grab her left knee. Good. And she'll feel that a little bit differently again, picking up. And the last piece, she can actually take that ankle on the right and twist it out towards her right side. Beautiful. And that'll wind it up even more. How's that feel, Sonia?
Good.
Good stretch. So these are all pieces you can add in if you need more of a stretch without, show us the bad stretch position, Sonia. Without doing that, kind of sagging through here. And look how much range she has. Do you feel a stretch there?
A little.
A little bit. And then go back to the other position. Squeezing your butt. Which one? And kind of locking it out, the glute.
Yeah.
Tight core. And do you feel more of a stretch there?
Yeah.
A little bit. And that's even a little bit. She's a little sloppy there in this position, but we'll yell at her after. Okay, good. Awesome. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Remember, if your hip is snapping or tight, you want to get into this position 2 minutes a day working on it. If you have questions, let us know. And move like you mean it. Bye, Sonia.